Member for Vancouver Hastings.
Mr. Speaker, earlier I spoke of a young girl who was physically assaulted at her school. We must all work to ensure that every child has the opportunity to thrive in a safe learning environment where they are respected for who they are. No student should be excluded or bullied because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. We know that 15% of male and 23% of female BC high school students identify as gay, lesbian, bi, or not exclusively heterosexual. That 1% identify as transgender and 5% of Indigenous students identify as two-spirit. We also know that they are subject to higher levels of bullying, cyberbullying, and discrimination, and are at higher risk of mental health issues, including suicide. Specifically, 64% of queer and transgender students in Canada feel unsafe in school because of bullying, violence, and verbal abuse. We need to change this to protect these children. The Sexual Orientation and Gender Identity program is vital to doing this in schools. SOGI inclusive education helps students to understand and respect their differences and helps make school environments safe and welcoming places for everyone. All of our province's 60 school districts and independent schools have SOGI inclusive codes of conduct policies in place. The BC SOGI Educator Network now has 60 school districts involved. It is so vital that we all stand behind these programs and quell the opposition to save these young people from lifelong trauma and save lives. I will end my remarks with letting us hear words from the students themselves. Having SOGI discussions at my school made me feel like people were educated about different families like mine, where I have two moms. Now I don't feel like if I talk about my family, anyone will tease me because of everybody's educated. A Zian, grade 7 student from Vancouver. I've never heard a teacher say this before. She was taking attendance and she said, if you have a preferred name, then we can change it on the attendance, no problem. So I think for us, it's really important, and it's a big deal, because I know I wouldn't want to be called by my birth name. I'd want to be called Kian, and I'm so glad that they acknowledged that. Dora speaks of not having SOGI in their school. A lot of people are saying that being in touch with this information will give people ideas, but that wasn't the case for me. Not having SOGI education didn't prevent me from being queer or being transgender. It just made me confused and afraid and ashamed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.